So, tonight's bag. This was the one I have shown you. There we go. So, with this one, I have a faux leather base. The one I'm doing tonight doesn't. So this one is a purple option I've done. And I wonder if you can tell what shape is within here. But there's that one. And then, so I'd made that one for the instructions and as my prototype. And then I have made this one with black faux leather at the bottom. And, I can't remember what this, it might be a Rennie Nanaman, or it might be a Joe Morton fabric. I'm sure I did another bag and I was looking to use different fabrics, but I so loved this one that I thought, no, I'm going to use it again because I've got a little bit left. So there's the black option. Okay. And if you wanted to, you could actually put cam snaps here to close it even further, but there are no zips this month. It has got a nice base, as you can see. So it is a little bit of a TARDIS. There's more space in there than you actually think. And the neck of the bag is not as big as what we usually do, but there's plenty of room to get your hand in and less room for anybody, for security wise, to get their hand in. But I just thought it was a really lovely shape. You can do the handle as long as you like. I even think a shorter handle would look good just to hang over your wrist. But there is that. Hello, Janet. And hello, Margaret. Hello, Yvonne. Hello, Carolyn. You love the dark one. And Gita loves the black one as well. So I have put them on the website. And do you know what I haven't done? That was when I was interrupted by hot dog and chips to make. I haven't put a code on there. So there will be a code to give discount, but there's two options on there at the minute. Once I have finished, I will go and put a code into the group. And I think the code is going to be, no, I won't make it up now because I'll probably forget. So take a look in the group once we're finished within half an hour. I will put a code up. I know I've put them on at £15 for a kit, but I'll give you a £3 discount like we did last time. So it brings it down to £12 plus postage for the kit. And the kit will have pre-cut shapes. The PDF is in the files in the group. There is a template there that you can download for yourself, but I will actually pre-cut these for you. So it'll be dead easy. Okay, shall we begin? Let's go down to the machine. Look at that lovely space. Can you see? It feels good to have a nice area where there is not a load of bits of fabric and all sorts. Okay, so here we are. What do we need? We need, can you see the shape? I'm going to do a blue option. It's a hexagon. It's a large hexagon. And I must admit, whatever sized hexagon you can find, you will be able to make this in any size. So you will need, where are we? Two the same and a third one the same size. This is going to be my base this time. Now, because it's not faux leather, you could actually quilt it. And had I had the chance, I would have cross-hatched across here because I think that would look really nice. But I haven't, so it's going to be just in a different colour. So this part, the hexagon, is the base. And these two will be the sides. And then you will need 3 hexagons exactly the same size. 1, 2, 3 for your lining. You will also need, I'm going to put that aside for the moment, you will need a strip of fabric that is 2.5 inches wide for whatever length. This was about 18 inches for whatever length that you would like your bag handle to be. And then you will also need a couple of swivel clasps and a couple of D-rings. So these are 1/2 inch D-rings and swivel clasps. If you want to use a wider bag handle, then by all means go up to the 1 inch, where with that you would cut 4 inch wide strips to make your handle and the tabs. So the first thing we're going to do, I've made this already, but I will explain. It's exactly the same as any other bag handle that you make. Hello, Sue. Hello, Jan. Hello, Jill. Will you have the black? I have got the black option. So on the website already, I wouldn't buy it yet because there'll be a discount code. There's the black and the purple option, but I haven't put the blue because I hadn't decided what colour I was going to do it. This is from Adidas Sitar Sewing Bird, and it's a lovely, lovely fabric. So with that, there's 3 from that range. So the first thing we're going to do, and I've done it already, I fused my fusible fleece onto the back of all 3 hexagons, which will form the main bag. So once we have got that fused, what I'm going to do next is take away the base fabric. So this one is going to be my bottom and remains as the whole hexagon. For the other 2, so those 2 outer pieces and 2 of the lining pieces. So we were going to keep 1 lining piece separate as a whole hexagon, just like the base piece. And I'm actually going to, you can do this separately, but I'm going to do it all at the same time. So I am going to line these up or stack them so that all the edges are together and aligned. So let's put that one on the top as well and smooth that out. Okay, so that's all. I'm just going to try. For some reason, I've got the tiny little bit there that's off. Okay, so all of these edges are absolutely the same. Oh no, that's the wrong way. They're all exactly the same. So it doesn't matter which side you do what I'm going to show you on. So let me just get my cutting mat, and no, for ease, we will do this side. So just make sure they are all lined up perfectly. And what we're going to do, so it's only 2 pieces of lining, 2 hexagons of lining and 2 outer pieces, which don't include the base piece. So the one in my case, which is different. Then I'm going to line one of these sides. So it's a straight edge side that you're going to cut from. You're going to cut a 1.5 inch strip the whole way across. Okay, so I've got that there and I'm cutting all the way through, and there I have now 2 pieces, 2 pieces of lining and 2 pieces of outer, which are slightly smaller on one edge, but it gives a long edge as one of the 6 edges of a hexagon. So I'm going to put the lining to the side, and I'm going to take my hexagon, and we're going to put the hexagon so that let's see if I could shift that out. No, it's not enough space. Right, let's put that over there. Whoops. And I'm just going to show you how it will line up. So, I've got those 2. Let's put that there. We will put that there. And I'm just taking this over here so that I have got a longer space to be able to lay these out. So we're going to put our main piece, our base piece, in the center. Okay, and then we are going to put a hexagon that's been trimmed. So here's my edge that's been trimmed. We're going to put that pointing outwards, so it's on the edge there. And at the other side, we've got this long edge. Just take this a little bit further this way. So you'll know it's right because these edges fit together, okay? So my long edge on this side is here. So what you've got is the main hexagon, the whole hexagon in the middle. You've got ones that have got a bit trimmed off at this side and this side here. So what I'm going to do first of all is pop that right sides together, and we'll put a few clips because I've got them handy, and it will also show you which edge is going to be stitched. So I may as well at the same time place this one right sides together here, line that edge up, and as I say, we may as well put some clips just here. Just make sure that lines up there. And 1, 2. Pop them on the edge that you are going to stitch. So we've got that there. So I am going to stitch, as you can see, there's a little gap. So we'll leave that for the moment. And we're not going to stitch. So there's the gap and there's a gap. So we're going to stitch along this edge and along that edge too. So let's just come here. And as we go, I'm using just a standard 2.5 inch stitch length and a 1/4 inch seam. Now, the one thing we are going to do is we are going to start about 1/4 inch in from the edge. We're not going to start right at the edge. It's not crucial that you do, but it just goes to better a lot more easily if you start about 1/4 inch in from this edge. So let's start stitching. We'll take that off, and also we will finish 1/4 inch from that edge. So by all means reverse if you're using fabric rather than faux leather. Oh, you telling me that hasn't stitched properly? Unbelievable. This happens to me all the time, doesn't it? Oh, my bobbin has. I looked at my bobbin and thought, do I need to get another? I should imagine that came to the end. And what I'm going to have to do at some point is wind the bobbin, wind a new bobbin. Okay, so let's just pop that through and we'll carry on. There we go. I also like to bring my bobbin thread up. There it is. So we've got that up just by dropping the needle. There we are. So let's just carry on from where it stopped stitching. 1/4 inch seam allowance. Cut that bit off. And carry on to 1/4 inch from the other side. And then just reverse. So then what we can see, if we open this little bit out, we have joined there. So then I'm just going to swivel this around so that I can do exactly the same on the other side. Make sure they all line up. Start 1/4 inch in from the edge and carry on across, stopping 1/4 inch from the edge. So what we have is 2 pieces joined around that center. So let's work with one side at a time. We'll work with this hexagon and the base, the center. So we'll lay that back down, and this time we are going to stitch this edge and this edge. So again, line that up, put your clips on the sides that you're going to stitch, and we will do exactly the same, starting 1/4 inch in from that edge. And there we go. And we're going to stitch all the way down to the bottom. And this time right down to the bottom there. And then just swivel that round and we'll start at the bottom here. And come up here. But let's stop 1/4 inch from this edge here. Okay. So what I'll do now is just fold that back just for the time being. I'll put a little clip to keep that out of the way, like that. Might do it this side as well. Just put a clip there. And then we'll take this other side and bring it right sides together. And what we'll look for, well, that doesn't, so we're going to stitch up to the point here where it, so I folded that back a little bit too far. But when we fold it, those two pieces will meet those two folds. So let's start from the point. We don't want to stitch over this little folded bit underneath, but let's line that up, and we can go from 1/4 inch in and reverse and stitch all the way down this side. So that's all the way down there. So then I can swivel here. I'm pulling this part here out of the way so that that point there can line up with that point there, which that does. And then we can start at the bottom, keep these edges aligned here, and stop just when it's about 1/4 inch, when we get to that folded piece. So let's have a look now. If we fold this back, there we go. We can take that off, and those bits meet just there. We haven't stitched over them. So that's nearly the most of it. The next thing, as you can see, we're going to stitch up here. So these two pieces, right sides together, and we can flip this other part here. We can fold that together. And then because we started 1/4 inch in, it's going to make that an easy seam down here. So this time right from the top and reverse there, all the way down to the bottom and reverse. And similarly on this other side here, we have got those two pieces that are open. So again, line that up and fold that neatly there. And we can stitch from the top here all the way down there. So a little reverse at the beginning to hold that nicely. Okay, so that is as easy as it is. And then I'm going to put my hand in here and pull this through. Okay, not difficult, do you say? Hello, Margot. Yes, made with 3 hexagons. And let's just push this base out, or the different colour fabric. And we need to just push into all the 6 points. Can you see there's one there? And then we can push into that one, which I'm doing with my finger. And this finger here. Okay, just push it into that point. And I forgot, oh no, there's another one. Whoops. Doing this a bit. Let's go up a little bit so that you can see. Okay, they've just got a point down here. Okay, there we are. We've got a point just there. And some of the points come up there. And there we have, let's see, I've pushed that out. And there we have the basis of our bag. Okay, we've got a nice wide base there. And as I've told you, it is as simple as that. So all we need to do for the lining is do exactly the same. So let's get our main hexagon. So the biggest hexagon, make sure the straight sides are here, because you could look at it like that. You've got points at each edge of your hexagon, but you don't have it that way. You have it so that you've got 2 straight edges at opposite sides. And then we will take our chopped pieces. So there is my extra long edge. Can you see? That's where I took the 1.5 inches off. And what we're going to do is the same as we did with the main outer. We're going to line up these 2 edges here. Okay. And I'm going to put a clip on there to hold it. And then we'll put another one on this side. And you do need this long edge being over to, there we are, it's the wrong way around there, because we're going to put it right sides together so that those 2 pieces meet, and we've got the longer edge here. So we'll pop that right sides together like so. And as I say, you know when you've put the wrong pieces together because it won't fit. So let's put a pin there. So again, as you can see, a clip even, you can see we've got the same setup as there. But just for a change, what one can do, there is our long edge. This is our first seam. So let's just do it this way. So I'm going to stitch with this one. We'll start 1/4 inch in. There we are. And reverse there and go the whole way across. And 1/4 inch from the side. And then I am actually going to go and do these 2 angled sides. So I've got my straight edge and I've got this edge and this edge to stitch as well. And I am going to leave a gap in one of the sides. So when we come to this edge, let's just start a little way down, 1/4 inch and reverse, and just a tiny bit down there, shift to the bottom and reverse again and all the way off the edge. So there I have my gap. So also I'm going to stitch up this edge. So right from the bottom to 1/4 inch from the top. Okay, so this time I've got 3 sides stitched. I'm going to roll that back so that I can see where this side is going. So this is my other chopped hexagon. It's a bit different, Barbara, yes? Oh, good. I hope you can resume sewing. So I'm going to stitch along here where my clip is. And we can go the 1/4 inch in and reverse. I'll take that off. Stitch across to 1/4 inch from the end and cut. And then I'm going to go here. So this again is where we want to just make sure that we are stitching only to this point. So let's point that to there. And we're stitching 1/4 inch down, which is where the point stops, or where that folded edge is. And we can go all the way down this side, all the way to the bottom. And then swivel it round, and we're going to do the same at this end. So there is the piece I folded back so that I could see this point, so that I can lay that down and line that up. And then we will start at the base here and stitch up to, it's about 1/4 inch. It's where that piece meets the folded piece. Okay, so we've got our folded again, and then again we're going to put these 2 together. It's almost as if it's telling you what needs to be sewn together. So hold that together. This part, which is the base of the lining, just hold that and then pop it under the machine, and we're going to stitch the whole way from top to bottom now. Okay, so down there and reverse. And then similarly on the other side, where we again have those 2 open edges, and we can just line those up, pop that under the machine. It holds itself in place, which is really good because again it makes it nice and easy. Okay, and there is our lining done. And as you can see, when this part, the top edge, let's just open that out, and you've got your bag there. So just the same as before. So what we now do is take our outer, and the easiest way to do it is just to fold that, because we're going to, so I've folded the base in half and basically half again, and I'm just going to pop it into this hole just here. And we will spread it out because there is our base that you can see. And then if we make sure the seam of the outer lines up with the seam here. Okay, so that is done there. So line that seam up, and we'll put a clip just there. And then the same on the other side. So let's find where that seam is. Whoops, there it is. So we will be pushing the outer into the lining in a moment, just so that, and you'll find that it all just slots into place at the bottom down here. So the corner points of the base go down here, and then the other side, the corner slots in down there as well. You might have to put the other hand in just to push it. You can't see what I'm doing inside there, but I am pushing those corners in. Okay, and it fits really, really nicely, so that then the seam here lines up again, the lining and the outer fabric. So once we've got those together, we can put that clip on, and then I can do a little bit more inside here just to push those corners into the corner. That's it. And then, as I say, everything just lines up. Let's just put my hand in there, push that down, so the base is fitting into the base down here. That's it. Okay, so that is better. That is much better. And here we have our gap for turning. Let's just push that in. That's it. So we've got our main bag inside our lining. Now, before we go any further, I need to make some little tabs, and the tabs are going to go where our seams are, so where these clips are. So what I've done, let's do our tabs. These are the pieces. These pieces are what I trimmed off. So if we just chop that straight, what did I say? 3-inch pieces, I think. Yeah. So I'm going to cut myself a 3-inch piece there and a 3-inch piece there. So these are going to be my tabs, and all I'm going to do is fold those edges in like so, and I'm going to overlap that because this is going to be inside. So I'm just overlapping like that, and I'm going to stitch down the center, holding those pieces together. Where are we there? So there is one, and then this one here, I'm folding about 1/4 inch, but I'm folding it over so that it's about 1/2 inch wide. So I've just folded those pieces over, and then we'll pop that under the needle. And although we've got those raw edges, it doesn't matter. Okay, so I've stitched one line down the middle. You can put 2 or 3 more on there as well. But then I am going to find me, shall we put it in that one? Yes. I'm going to find me a swivel clasp, pop that in, and fold it over. So there is my tab. And then I'll put a clip on there, and the same with this one. So I am just making sure the raw edge is inside like that. Okay, so where is one more? Okay, so I've got that there. What I am going to do, I'm going to stitch just across here, because I like my tabs to be held. So we'll do a couple of reverses there, and it just holds the swivel clasp in at the top rather than slipping all the way down. So that is nicely made up. And then similarly with this one, so just a reverse across there and stop in the middle. It means that you haven't got tails of thread on the edges. There's one, and we just, so that one has held that one as well. So next thing is take our bag And let's have a look at this one here first of all. So I'm just going to lift the lining away so that I can pop my tab, well, let's take that off, onto the seam. So if you can, so there is my tab, there is my seam. I'm putting the tab on top, and then I'm going to just get this underneath just to secure it. Whoops, there we go. Just to secure it rather than having a tab there. But we've decided we're not going to stitch because, again, I've probably run out of thread. Yep, look at that, completely out of thread. So let's just, I should have prepared myself a little bit better than this, but I'm just going to thread my, or wind myself another bobbin. Oh, I've got a little bit on there, hadn't I? So let's just have that going. Right, let's put a little bit of thread on there. See what my machine looks like inside. Not too bad at all. There we go. Because I haven't been using this machine of late, because obviously I've been in the other room. Right, I think we'll stop just that. I usually wind it full, but rather than you just listening to a bobbin being wound, okay, let's pop that in and into the slot and through, and pop that in there, down. And as I say, I do like to bring my bobbin thread up. Don't have to, but I like to know that it's going to start stitching straight away. So pop that round the edge, and then, oh, where is my, there is my tab again. Just make sure that is centered over there. That's it, that's better. And stitch just across there, just to hold it in place without the need of clips. And then we'll do the same on this side here. And there is our seam. Here is our swivel clasp. So let's just pop that down there onto the seam and push that under and stitch across just to hold that in place for when we're stitching around the top. So again, oh, what have I done that? Oh, unbelievable, unbelievable. So we haven't stitched that very well at all, and it has shifted. So let's just take that off. Just cut that little bit and pop that centrally over my seam. It's probably telling me, Trisha, you should use a pin or a clip. Okay, that is better. Okay, let's make sure that is there. And then we can pop our tab back on like so to hold it together. And similarly on this side, we have our tab in there, and we'll put that back on as well. Now, this is where, if you have an accessory tray on the front, you've got the ability to use the free arm. So take off your accessory tray so that you can feed this over the top of the free arm here. This one doesn't. So what I'm going to do here is work from the inside, and I'm just going to stitch all the way around the top edge. So let's go around here, down into that seam, and then this is well, it's slightly curved. I was going to say it's a straight edge, but it is slightly. I'm just pivoting that around, and with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, Just keep turning it round if you don't have the free arm like I don't have on this machine. So all I'm doing is making sure that the lining is lined up with the edge of the outer fabric. Otherwise, we're going to have a gap in the top edge, which we don't want. So that's coming down there. I'll take that little bit off and then down to that seam and then pivot round again so that we can come, oh look, you see that's dropped down just a little bit. So pins or clips around this top edge are always a great idea. Whoops, it's my presser foot, not my presser foot, my pedal slipping out of the way. So just keep moving that round till we come back to where we started, which we are almost there. Just making sure that's all lined up. It still is. So just go over the first few stitches and we're now stitched the whole way around the top. Now the only thing I like to do here is I like to clip into this seam. So it's where the tab is. Just clip carefully. Oh, it's just about there. Into that seam. Just to give it a little bit. There we are. So that we've clipped in there. Just a bit of flexibility for when we turn it through. Okay. Because I've used the tab with a bit of the fusible fleece on, it just makes it a little bit thicker, but very carefully just clip into there. There you see. So now we can turn it through. So let's have a look to see where is my opening? Where is my opening? I suppose there's 6 sides. Here we are. So here is my opening. So you pop your hand inside and then we can just pull the bag through. Are we thinking that this is very, very easy? All the comments have gone now. It tells me that Janet Ball is watching and Sue Robinson is watching. Well, I actually knew that anyway. But there's no comments coming there at all. So we've pulled that all the way through. There's our tab. There's our base. Okay, need a little press again soon. So let's find our gap again. So there is our gap. And all we need to do, I don't even need to push these corners out because when they go into the bag, they are going to be, motorbikes, I think, outside. They are going to go into their respective corners. So all I'm doing is just using my nail to push that seam allowance, to press that seam allowance along there and along there and along there. There we go. So just like we would in any other bag that we were making or anything where we were closing the gap. And by doing that, you can see that is going to line up really nicely. So just because I have clips here, let's just pop that together and line up those edges. And then all I'm going to do is stitch across this seam. Now this is going to be right in the bottom of the bag, so it's not going to show. So let's start just there. And right, just make sure these folded edges are lined up nicely. And there we go. Push that over. And then just a little bit further along than the actual gap is. Clip that little bit off. And if there's any just here, just a tiny bit there. And of course, let's pull it to make sure that there's no gaps, and there's not. So from this part, oh, there's a little bit of thread just there. Oh, that's gone now. So we can push this lining back into the bag. And I'm spreading my fingers to push it over there and also then over here, like so, and into there. And then at the top edge here, we just want these edges. There we are. Put a few clips around here. We could give it a press around this top edge, pushing the lining into the bag, and so that it's not hanging over the top edge. There we go. And at least we've got our tabs in, albeit not perfectly central. And then we'll go around to this side also, and use your fingers, just roll the lining into the bag and roll it just there. And on this occasion, I do like to use a few clips, or as I say, you can use pins, just to hold that in the right place. So again, if you have, you see that's going better because I did that little snip into there. You could pop this over your free arm to top stitch around this edge. But what I'm going to have to do is work from the back, and I'll start a short way across here. And there we are. I'm going to do ½ inch down because my foot is at the 1/4 inch wide. So I'm just top stitching around so that it just holds the lining down into the bag. And I'm keeping pushing, there we are, pushing the bag down, pushing it, turning it around as we go. And we will also be stitching over our bag tabs. There we go, so across there, a little bit thicker. If you wanted to use a bit of ribbon instead for the tabs, absolutely fine, because it's only a holder for your swivel clasp. And obviously we've got the D-ring to go onto the end of our handle. If you wanted to do it the opposite way round, by all means do. It wouldn't matter if the D-ring was on where I put the swivel clasp on the tab, which is probably more usual, but I like to be different, as you know. So there we are. We are nearly all the way around. We just need to go over this bag tab. There we go. And take that one off and carry on around the top. And then we are back to where we started. So we can clip that little bit of thread. And then again, just push the lining down into our bag, into that corner. And where are we? There we go. So you can get both your hands in there, push them out to the corners. And there you can see in the bag, all your lining is fit into there and fits beautifully with the rest of the bag because all the seams line up. Okay, so there is our, whoops, no, we can't see that there. There is our bag with our tabs on there. And all I'm going to do now, the bag handle was made in the same way that we make our bag handles, by folding the whole of the fabric wrong sides together, and then opening it out. And let me just do it with this one here. So there's the right side. So we're going to fold it wrong sides together and press, open it out and fold the raw edge to the center, and press, and then fold it over and press again. And I just stitch down both sides. So all we need to do with our handle now is to feed it through a D-ring. Excuse me. And I'm not even going to, I mean, you could, if you want to fold it over twice, you can. In fact, I will. It depends on your machine. Let's fold that over twice so that we have no raw edge there. And then I'm going to stitch across there. So straight onto, there we go, across there. And you could do a little rectangular box, or as I've just done there, I've just reversed. So there is one, take that little bit off. So there is my tab on that, sorry, my D-ring on that side. So we're going to do the same at the other end, feed that through. I'll turn it around this way and then just fold probably 1/4 inch back to the wrong side. Press that down, line those edges up, and then again, just stitch across and reverse and stop in the middle. And then what you'll have is your threads are easy to clip off in the center rather than poking out from each edge. And then with my handle here, all I'm going to do is pop that onto my swivel clasp and onto this swivel clasp also. And the bag is finished. How about that? Tony's still here. I can't see that anybody else is here, but I know that there are 58 of you watching tonight. So pretty good. So let's have a look. We are back again. So there is the bag. Probably give it another little press. There is our blue version. And really, how easy was that? I'm afraid I can't see any comments whatsoever. It is 23 minutes past 7. And apart from popping the, what did I put on? The fusible fleece and the strap, I did everything else in the session. So there's a blue one. There's a black one. And here's a purple one. Blue, black, and purple. Let's put them all the same way so that you can see. So at the sides, you've got that lovely inverted. That is lovely, says Sue. Yeah. Oh, lots of hearts. That's love. Jane, it is easy. It is easy, really. You will find it so easy, honestly, because all the parts just go where you expect them to. They just line up, and the instructions will show you all of that. Now, what I will say with the two with the faux leather base, you don't need to put any wadding on there. I mean, as you know, we don't put heat onto faux leather. So to try and do fusible, I wouldn't do that. I think what you could do is, if you wanted to, you could put some wadding on the reverse of the faux leather and quilt it to hold it together, but no heat for that. And I actually feel the faux leather doesn't need it. This is just cotton fabric from the Sewing Bird range. And yes, I like to have a bit of fusible fleece in there to give that a bit of body. But there they are. Okay, so it is a very different bag, isn't it? Now, apart from being a bag, as I say, I would just have it over one handle, one arm if you wanted to. But it could be your crochet bag, couldn't it? It could be what you got your knitting in. You could put your hair products in there and hang it over a door handle in the bedroom. Lots of uses for it. It doesn't have to be a going out bag, but I think it's pretty different. And, you know, there's nothing untoward about it, but just a different type of bag. The other thing I mentioned was you could put cam snaps or a closure at each side if you wanted it to, one there and one there. I suppose, actually, to make it even more triangular, let's put those there. If you were, can you see how that is? So at the minute, I have my handle there, and I said about snaps going there and there. But if you put a snap at this side to close with that side, then your handle is that way and your bag is even more triangular. So another way of doing it a little bit different, and then your handle comes from one side to the other, and the side of your bag has got that inverted triangle there. So entirely up to you, but it has quite a few different ways. Yes. Project bag, exactly that, Leslie. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Nikki. And thank you, Dorothy. And thank you, everybody, for watching. I think, not bad. Just coming up 7:30. So this is the Melissa bag. If you wanted a kit, don't buy it yet. I'm just going to go and put a code in the group where you are now. I will put the discount code in there so you can use it if you would like to buy one. I know you've all got far too much fabric and you'll be able to make this yourself, but the template for the hexagon for this size is in files in the group, along with the instructions, step-by-step photos and wording. So there's no way you're not going to be able to do it. That is about it. I will put the blue option up there as well. I must take a picture, see if I can get that all done straight away so that you can go ahead. So I will say thank you so much for watching tonight. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll see you on Thursday and Friday this week. So bye for now.